Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Fluctus Channel. Welcome to Ireland, where a unique tradition has unfolded in the heart of its ancient bogs for generations. These wetlands, filled with fuel, peat, have been a wellspring of life for the Irish people.
The boglands wouldn't be here only for this plant, and it's called sphagnum moss. And sphagnum moss is a highly acidic plant. Very, very important for our environment and our ecosystem and all that. When the grasses grow up through it in the summertime, like these green ones here, grow up through it in the summertime, when they die away, there's no bacteria in the bog. It's so acidic that they don't actually rot. And this is your future peatland.
Peat, a solid fossil fuel, results from millennia of accumulation and partial decay of waterlogged plant material like mosses and grasses.
If I just show you, I'll squeeze it and you'll see how much water it actually holds. You see that? Yeah. So you can imagine when it rains, this will soak up the water, so it stops the flash flood. It slows it down. So it's like a damper system.
Like vast, wet fields, Ireland's countryside is adorned with peatlands and bogs. These have been crucial places for the Irish, providing a special fuel known as turf. They use it for cooking and keeping their house warm during winter.
Good turf is as good as timber, but there's more ash. But the ash was very important to the old people because the old people relied on ash for potash.
A special spade, called the sleen, has been used for cutting turf for a long time, and people still use it today.
This is the slan, and the slan was used to cut the sod of turf. It's a very simple, it's like a spade, but they put a wing on the side of it. And the wing was used so that you didn't have to keep slicing the bog, and you got the slan, and you placed it in the bog like this, and you pushed. And you turn sideways to break the sod to take it out. And that's the sod of turf.
With a few workers, this process can be completed quite easily within a week.
It was a tool that we were so used to. We saw it in every stack of old metal. You'll find a slan because people had them, and just, you know, they were dying out now because very, very few people cut turf now by hand. So we cut it for a demonstration to show you, but we now use an excavator to scoop up the bog into a big bin, and it squirts out the turf like a sausage. For the old people, they didn't have that luxury. They had to cut it by hand.
After cutting the layers of turf from the bog, we let them dry under the sun for a few days. This time is crucial because it dries the turf, making it ready for use.
We cut the turf with the slan and put it up on the bank, and you take it with a fork and you spread it out on the ground, and the sun will start to dry it. After a week or 10 days, you could stand it up in we call it footing, where we stand the turf up and foot it. After another couple of weeks, we can turn it over and it would start to dry more, and then you make it into a bigger little grogeen of turf into a stack. This was all relying on good weather.
Meanwhile, the freshly cut turf still contains a high level of moisture, which makes it less cohesive and falls apart. After drying for a few days, it develops skin, holding it together.
So this is a sod of turf, and people often ask, when I was showing you the plants, these plants are all preserved inside the sod of turf. So if I go and split it open, we might get a cross section of it here like this. Can you see all the plants? So these are plants that grew here thousands of years ago. They're all there in the bog. I even see a little nut from a seed. See it there?
It is then turned footed, and the bottoms are turned upside down so that it is dried from both sides. It is then footed in 3, 4, or 5 turfs placed side by side so that it dries up from all the sides. Even though much of the moisture has evaporated, leaving it somewhat dry, the exterior now has a hardened texture. The dried turf is ready to be used in your fireplace, delivering the desired warmth. Turf cutting has traditionally been used to harvest peat for domestic uses like heating and cooking.
The top of the bog is very important for the old people as well, for their roof of their houses, thatch, the sedge, used for thatching the houses and in the cottages, and they used to harvest it in when the summertime when it was green and dry it like hay, and come when it was dry enough, they'd use it the following year for putting on the roof for thatch, and that would last for 2 to 3 years. There's no sugars in it, so the bacteria, it was still acidic, so the bacteria wouldn't rot it down, so it would stay on the roof as thatch.
Beyond its practical use, turf cutting holds cultural significance, reflecting the identity and history of the Irish people. That's the end of this video. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our new content. See you next time.